Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. So far I've turned a handbag into a journal and a wallet into a journal. And sticking with the theme, it is now time to attack the phone case. So in this video I will be turning this into this. It's going to be so much fun and I hope you'll join me for the ride. Let's begin. The phone case that I'm working with today is this type of a phone case that you have your phone on the inside. It's got a magnetic closure, and this particular one has this bonus little pocket here that flips out. And full disclosure, I actually purchased this phone case along with this one. I actually already completed this project because I wanted to see if I enjoy making it, if I want to share it with you. So anyway, I'll show you all of this inside, but I just wanted to say that you can find these phone cases quite cheap at thrift stores. For some reason, I see them all the time and they're usually brand new. These two were, this one was absolutely brand new and this one I think was pretty much either brand new or barely used. Let's start the project, shall we? So the first thing, of course, that I have to do is get rid of this. We don't need this plastic. Oh, it's already kind of coming off. Maybe that's why I was in the thrift store. Okay, let's start removing. So I'm not an expert at removing these things. This is the second phone case I'm working with in my life and removing the actual phone thing, but we can assume that it's probably safe to go quite gentle so that we don't damage this too much. Obviously there's going to be damage because this is glued in quite well. Manufacturers can't risk this falling off of the phone case, so it's going to be glued quite well. I could potentially go in with an X-Acto knife. I don't think I will, but just to demonstrate, I could do this. I don't care about damaging this plastic case here, but I don't want to cut through the material. I'm just going to do this. Gently, gently. Excellent. This is no longer needed. That can go. All right, so now this is what we have. The outside is nice and intact. I can give this a clean. And here's the plan, just so you know ahead of time. Obviously, we're going to cover this. I want to create a flip-out pocket, or we're going to do something with the window. And the main thing, I guess, is that I want the pages and the binding to be removable. Actually, the pages to be removable, so that you can very easily, you know, once the pages are filled up, I have two signatures in here, you can take the whole thing out, the whole insert, and put in a new one, or you can take individual pages out, depending on what you want to use it for. If it's like your to-do lists or grocery shopping lists and stuff like that, and you have it in this format, obviously you want to be able to remove the pages. And then in here I have a credit card holder or card holder. So we'll get to all of that, but I just wanted you to know the plan ahead of time. The pages will be removable. All right, let's start covering. The first step, cover this ugliness. So this is the element we're working on now. We are covering this. We're going to be creating this flip out page that has 6 pockets, or we'll see what we're going to make for this one, but we're going to do that. And also we will be utilizing the window here as well for a little sentiment, and this is acetate in there, so we'll do all of that. But first, I have chosen my paper that I'm going to use, just scrapbook paper, and I need to cut it to size. So first I'm going to look for the height that I need. And I'm going to go from this stitch down to this stitch. So I'm not going all the way to the edge. We're leaving a little margin. So I'm going to cut my paper just here. Okay, we've got the correct height. And now for the width, I'm going in from the fold. You can see that fold to the stitch over here. I'm going to do a little mark and fold. And now cut this excess off. Perfect. Just double check. So this side is going to be glued down. Excellent. All right. Now, because the phone case is curved on these edges, I'm going to use my corner punch and curve these edges. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink all the edges. I don't need to worry about the back because it's going to be glued down, but I am going to ink on the inside as well. I think this would be such a gorgeous gift to give. So from now on, I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled for these phone cases in thrift stores, especially if I can find fancy ones like this one. Now we're going to work with the window. So I'm going to place this where I need it. The only thing I don't like about this case is that the window is all the way here to the edge. So that's going to make things a little bit more difficult in terms of like applying the acetate piece in there. See this one, how it's in the middle, much easier. I have much more space to work with. So I'll just have to deal with it as I go. Okay, now I'm even contemplating not cutting out the window and just, actually, you know what? We don't have to cut out any windows on this. I was going to scrap that idea. We don't have to do any cutting on this piece. Now I can just place this where it's going to be glued down, and I'm just gonna draw myself where the window is. I'm gonna rub that out later, and now I can go ahead and alter this in some way or add a sentiment directly onto this. Maybe I can do a little vellum piece on there or cover it with something a little bit more fancy like this. See how that would look. That looks pretty cool. I might go with this one. Let's keep it simple, shall we? So I didn't actually need to draw this outline on that piece, but I need to draw it on this piece, or not. I can just hold it in place and search for a sentiment. On this one, I've got embrace the journey. So depending if you're giving this as a gift, you might want to have a personal message in there. You can have the name of the, you can do to-do lists. I don't know. You can just not do anything. Just have a little image in there. You can have a photograph in there. Oh, that would be so cool. I don't want to overthink it too much, so I'm going to go with this one. Live simply, give generously. I think that will do. I rounded that corner. I don't actually have a lot of space here to work with, which really, really sucks. But we just have to adapt the project to what we have in our stash, right? So I've inked the edges on this one, and now on this one. And now, of course, I have to glue this in place. Perfect. Now, I want to cover this with a little bit of acetate, just so that it's more profesh and protected as well. So firstly, round that one corner and apply glue. This is not going to be visible. I could have even used double-sided tape. That probably would have been better. But I definitely need glue along this edge. Okay, and glue the acetate down. Let's see. This glue is going to dry clear. It's white at the moment, so it might be visible. But so far, it's looking mighty fine. It's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and apply glue onto the acetate now. And again, the edge. And grab my phone case and glue it right on top. Excellent. And the window is officially done. This is what it looks like on the inside. And now, of course, we have a piece prepared. It's going to go like this right on top, and it's going to open this way. So the next thing we're going to do is glue this onto this. And I'm going all the way to the edge, and if the glue seeps through, I'm going to clean it up before it dries. But I really want to make sure that the edges are glued down and everything else is glued down. And here we go. Glue that baby down. All right, so we're going to create fun stuff here. We can have pockets. We can have like a card slot here as well, even though this one has card slots already, but that's an option. We will come back to this at the embellishing stage. So we've completed the back cover. We've got the window happening, and I'm quite happy so far. Okay, next thing. We are going to create this like a Troubles notebook style kind of binding. So we're going to add some elastic here. I only have 2 signatures in this one, and bear in mind there's only so much that you can fit in here. So you can see how tiny that little spine is there. Yet I've managed to put in 2 signatures, and they're quite, you know, they've got sewing, they've got all sorts of stuff, and the magnet still holds everything closed. But you can't, I mean, you probably could do 3 signatures or, you know, whatever. It's up to you. You can do 4, but then you have to have a lot less pages in there. Okay, let's do this first. So in case if you don't have elastic, you can bind your pages in, of course, into the spine, but then you won't be able to remove any pages. So if you want to be able to remove the pages, then of course you have to have elastic in there. I just want to encourage you and tell you that if you don't have elastic, but you still want to be able to take your pages out, you can do that type of binding with twine. So you can see on this book, I use the wraparound method, and it's just twine, and it's not elasticized, and still I can insert pages very easily anywhere I want, in the middle of the signature, let's say, right? And I can also take it out, and this is not elasticized. So you can still do this method even with just a piece of thread, piece of yarn, or twine, or whatever you have on hand. I prefer elastic, but not everyone has elastic. And also, of course, elastic does degrade over time. Personally, I don't have an issue with that, with this particular elastic, but they're all different brands and whatnot. However, in this project, it really doesn't matter, because I can very easily, if it degrades, I can cut it off and just add another piece of elastic. So no issue there. All right, so I have prepared myself a length of elastic. I'm going to go in with 2 signatures, and it just has to be long enough to wrap around twice, to tie a knot here, and that's all you need. So you can do this. You can wrap it around the spine like I've done here. Hello, Banjo. Are you coming to say hello again? All right, come. Hello. Okay, go back to sleep. Now, where was I? You can wrap it around the spine like this, but what I'm going to do, of course, is utilize this hole, and I'm going to create another hole down here, and I'm going to use that to thread my elastic through. Okay, so the next step, of course, is creating another hole and plopping that eyelet through, and I want it to be right there in the middle. So I'm just going to mark myself a little spot there, and off I go, punching the hole using my crocodile. Hole is punched. Now I'm going to add an eyelet ready to go. And the reason why I keep saying you can do this and you can do that, and if you don't have this and if you don't have that, is because I don't want you to be discouraged if you don't have all the tools. And if you follow me and watch me, you know that I've done crafting for many years without all the tools, without the sewing machine, without the crocodile, without the cutter, without the eyelets, without lots of things. And I think the lack actually helps with creativity anyway. Okay, I'm setting the eyelet now. Perfect. This is such a quick little upcycle project. This eyelet is a lot smaller than this eyelet. I hope it's not going to cause me problems, but it is what it is. So the actual project is really quick. Upcycling the phone case. I think the thing that takes the most time is the pages. All right, we are threading. Actually, I think I have to start from the inside, or perhaps it doesn't matter. I'm going to start from the inside. I'm going to thread, bring it through this eyelet, and then through the top eyelet. Plenty of space in this eyelet, which is good. But now I might have issues with this tiny little one. Now I'm thinking silver elastic would look better than gold. All right, bear with me. I do have silver elastic, but it's got kinks all over it. So hopefully that's not gonna matter when it's nice and tight. All right, let's do this again. Reiterating the lesson. Go in from the inside, then from the outside in, and then for the second signature, back outside. And now back inside. So as I was saying before, the eyelet is very small, but I might, if I just stretch out that elastic, I might be able to fit the second piece through. All right, wasn't easy. It's got some kinks. What do we think? Does it matter? I don't want to be too precious. Okay, so we're going to tighten that, but we're not going to go overboard and make it really tight. Well, we don't want to loose either. This is loose. This is quite loose. And we want the knot on the inside, and we want the twist also on the inside. You can do that after we finish, but I'm just gonna do it now. Okay, so no twist on the spine, twist on the inside, which is fine, you'll see. And now we're going to tie a knot. We're tying a square knot. So we're gonna go left over right, right over left, that kind of thing. I'm holding this in place because I need to keep that elastic tight. So this is a little bit of an annoying process, but here we go. Knot tied, perfect tension. I got quite a bit of space to plop my signatures in, but it's not too tight and it's not too loose. Too loose would be a big problem. Too tight will help the elastic degrade much quicker. All right, that's looking okay on the spine, not too twisty. And now I'm really gonna tighten that and chop. The next thing we're going to do is, of course, prepare the pages or the signatures, and then we're gonna do all of the embellishing and the tassel and all the fun stuff. So I'm gonna go get some pages. Okay, I pulled out some different types of papers here, and we're gonna do everything together, make this journal really special, this little phone case journal. Just wanna tell you that for this one, I have 18 pages that I folded in half. So that's what I'm gonna endeavor to do on this one, but again, we can always remove the pages or add pages or whatnot. The first thing I need to do, well, I like to choose my very first paper that's going to be visible when the journal opens. So I want something to go with the inside. I really dislike this pink color, but I love this pink color. So anyway, I have to find something that kind of goes, I think this kind of goes with this. I can always change my mind. So this will be my very first page, but also kind of a template. So then I know how tall and how wide my other pages have to be. So first of all, we can't measure the page top to bottom because the page has to fit inside here. So the height of the page has to be in between the eyelets. I want those pages to be able to be removed relatively easy. So I'm going to make it tiny little bit smaller, or shorter rather. All right, let's test it out. That's a little bit tight, so I'm gonna take another tiny little sliver off. Test again. All right, that's perfect. That's a lot better. And now I have to work out how wide my page can be. It can't be sticking out because we have the magnet here to keep it closed, so we can't have any sticky outage. I made a mark over here. You can just fold it in half and plop it through and then mark it, but everyone has their own way, don't they? Okay, chop this off. See, if I had folded the whole piece of paper like this, fold and then shorten, I would have 2 short pieces of this paper. So I'm trying to keep my offcuts as big as possible, if that makes sense. All right, cut. And now time to test. It's probably going to be a little bit too long. We shall see. No, actually, that's pretty good. That's actually perfect because as we're putting the pages inside, the pages are gonna wanna come out. You know what I mean. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. It's a minor little detail. All right, I have my first page and also the template for all of my other pages. So now what I'm going to do is check for height, and the ones that need to be trimmed down like this one, I'm going to put to one side. And the ones that don't need to be trimmed down to height, I'm going to put them to the other side. These long pages are going to be pockets. See, with these ones, I'm not sure if I can actually use them. They might be too short. Yeah, they're a little bit shorter, but that's fine. I'm going to get rid of this uneven edge right away and keep going with my pages. I'm going all out with this journal, and I'm choosing my precious, precious paper that I've been hoarding for such a long time. This paper has some type of a textury feel, and it's just so precious. And I tend not to use the precious things. Well, that's in the past now. The new me is using up all the precious things. Look at this one. Very nice. And look how beautiful it goes with this paper. I wonder if that's going to be a better first page. I always look at how the first page, oh, this is going to be my first page, looks much better than this one. Absolutely. This is going to be my first page. These pages need to be trimmed down, like I said, but I'm going to count my pages first. 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm going to go with 18, so one needs to go. I'm going to keep these. I'll get rid of this one. That one can go. But I like it. I like all of them. They're all my babies. All right, this one's going to go. This one's going. These are all the pages that need to be trimmed down. And you could do this and grab your template and mark where you need to cut and then cut all of them at once. I don't like to do it that way because pages can move, and it's just, I like to be a little bit more precise. So I do it in little batches. I can even use this actual page as my guide where I need to cut. Batch number 1 is done. Next. Batch number 2 is done. This one's done. I can even, maybe if I have space, I can bring these into the journal as well. And my last batch. You're just a batch. Such a batch. Okay. All of my pages are now safely the exactly same height. Well, not exactly, so obviously I have shorter pages, but they're all going to fit into my journal. So at this point, I like to arrange all of the pages into the signatures. So upon choosing the pages, I like to make my life a little bit easier. And if I know that I'm going to have 2 signatures, I go and I grab 2 of the same as much as I possibly can. So now I'm going to arrange the pages into the signatures, and then I'll arrange the signature. I can't talk today. I don't know what's going on. This is going to be my first page, and this is going to be the first page of the second signature. For now, we're just doing this. They're each going to have a pocket page, and then some like random things. And then we'll do this, and we'll do this. And done. 8 pages per signature. I'm going to pop that one aside. This is my very first signature. I like to arrange my pages like this, and I'm going to work from the middle of the signature out. So I know that this is going to be my first page, so I'm going to leave this to last. I'm going to have this one, and then maybe this one, and then I'm going to have a pocket page. Actually, I might do this pocket page. So I'm mixing up the colors. Then I'll do this one. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Okay, first signature is arranged. This is going to be a pocket page. So is this one, and so is this one. So I'm going to have 3 pockets, actually 6 pockets in this first signature. I'm going to pop it aside. I might make some changes because this one looks like it's only going to have 1 pocket page. So I might swap some pages. All right, that's going to be the first page. This is going to be my middle. And then really just building from there. So since this one only has 1 pocket, I'm going to do a swapperoo. I'm going to swap this one with this one. Now this is going to be my second signature, but that's okay. I'm going to start working with this. So now what I need to do is cut all of my pages to this template, because I'm using this as a template. But of course, I don't want to go ahead and cut this and then lose my pocket pages. So at this point, I'm going to remove the pocket pages. You know, everyone's got their own way of doing things. You might think it's a little bit pointless arranging them and then removing them, but that's just the way I'm used to doing things, I suppose. Time to cut this to size. And now put the pocket pages back in. It doesn't matter where they go. I might do this one on the very first page. So I'm going to pop this one in and I'm going to fold it in like this so that it fits within the journal. And same over here. Excellent. And now one more. Now this one is way too long to fit into to fold into a pocket unless I do this kind of thing. I was contemplating for a second to do like a fun element, but let's just move this along. Let's move it along. We're going to be here all day long. We don't want that. Trim. And now maybe I want this pocket on this side rather than on the other side. Excellent. Everything fits beautifully. I'm just checking my template against this first page over here and they're exactly the same. Actually, my template is a little bit tiny, a little bit longer, so I'm going to use this as a template. Remove the pocket pages, chop the excess off. Perfecto. Put the pocket pages back inside. Doesn't matter if I put them into the wrong place, as long as, you know, I'm the one making the decisions here. So if I forget where it was, then I just make a new space for them. And again, both of these pages are way too long. So first I'm going to trim them down and proceed to fold. Proceedage to foldage. So I'll have this pocket going this way and perhaps this upside down. Start again, darling. All right, this one is going to go this way, and then we can do this one this way, and we can do this one this way. We need to test this out before we move on to the fun stuff, the fun stage of journal making. But we need to check that everything works and fits, or if I need to add more pages. Now, I just wanted to tell you, remember how I said there has to be a twist, because you put it through and then it's just the way it is. There has to be this twist somewhere where one of the strands goes over the top of the other. And I like the twist to be on the inside because for whatever reason, who knows why. So that twist actually ends up sitting down the bottom or up the top. Anyway, useless bit of information there, but you might want your twist to be on the inside as well. So you just have to make sure it's on the inside before you pull up the pages in. Now this one. Oh, the moment of truth. Pages fit. Oh, sweet. And then, oh, isn't that just so satisfying? So the pages fit. If the pages didn't fit, you would take them out and cut them out. Well, in fact, you are going to take it out anyway. That was a test run. Well, you could call this done if you want to. Totally up to you where you want to take it from here. But we have this to finish off. All the embellishing here, which of course we're going to do together. I want to do like something a little in here, and then I have all this real estate to play around with, and of course the tassel for the grand finale. Just wanted to show you how when some of us are working, some of us are in the sun lurking.
Hello, Banjo. Oh, yes, he's stretching. Oh, yes.
Oh, such a difficult life. Let the embellishing process begin. We shall start by removing our signatures because now we know they fit. Excellent. And I'm going to start with the first signature, and I'm going to do the extremely boring and tedious job of inking all, yes, all the edges. All the pages have now been inked, and yes, it is a tedious and boring job, even though it didn't take too long because the pages are rather small. Yes, boring and tedious and all of that, but I think it makes such a big difference to how the pages look. Now, I just want to point out that when embellishing this journal, we can't add a lot of chunk because we won't be able to use the magnets to keep it closed. So we can't go and do ruffles and add laces and a whole bunch of pockets and embellishments and all of that stuff. So we want to make it really pretty without adding a lot of bulk, which brings me to the next step, which is stenciling and then stamping. So stenciling and stamping is adding beauty, but it's not adding any bulk. It just makes a huge difference in my opinion. And to keep it nice and simple, I like to use this one stencil that I seem to be using in all of my projects. I just like to keep it as simple as I possibly can. And also when I stencil, I'm not going to stencil the whole page. I might just do the corners like this. I'll do it on the other side as well. It's quite a quick process, but it just adds such beauty. Then on these pocket pages, what I like to do is just stencil the flap and go over it completely, and it looks like this. Do the other side, and that one's done. So I'm not going to stencil each and every page because that would probably be a little bit too overpowering, especially if you're using the same stencil throughout the whole journal, which I am. And of course on some pages I have the stenciling really kind of muted, and then on others it's quite out there or quite visible. So for example, I'm going to skip this one. I'm not going to do any stenciling. I might do stenciling on this one, but not on this one, and so on. So I'm going to do all the stenciling and I'll be right back. Okay, I'll just show you the first signature, what I've done. You can see a bit of stenciling happening on quite a lot of the pages, I suppose, but then you can see pages where there's no stenciling. So we're nearly, this is the middle page, and then going back, you can see it, but it's not taking over. All right, next step after stenciling is of course stamping. So I mostly stamp just the pockets because sometimes I find that the ink goes through onto the other side of the page if the paper is quite thin, and this paper is very thin. So if I stamp on this pocket, this is going to be closed, then it doesn't matter if the ink is showing through on this side. All right, let's stamp. This part always worries me because I'm always worried I'm going to get the edge of the, onto the paper, but what can you do? Stamp away. All right, that looks pretty nice. And now I'm going to do this one. I might do a different stamp. Beautiful. We have that one and we have this one, and I'm going to go ahead and do the stamping throughout. In fact, I think I'm only going to do stamping on just these pages. So I have 2 of these pages, one in this signature and one in the other one. So I will only have 4 stamped images in the whole phone case journal. Now that stenciling and stamping is done, we are ready to move on to the next step. I just want to show you the stamping and sort of the stenciling in first signature, and then in the second signature, that's all the stamping, and on the other side as well. Okay, next step is next step is optional. All of this is optional, so there, I'm not going to say that. You can sew or you don't have to sew. Personally, I think that the stitching adds so much character to these pages. And another thing that adds character, these are the pages from my other journal, is if you're stitching with 2 different threads. So if you have a look at this page here, I have brown thread on one side and pink thread on the other side. I don't know how well you can see that, but I think it adds a bit of character just to have 2 different colors in your, on the pages. So basically all that means is that my top thread is this color and my bottom thread, or the bobbin thread, is this pink color. We are ready to go. So I'm going to sew around the pages, probably not all of the pages, but the main ones, of course, are the pocket pages. So I might do this first page on screen, and I'll do the pocket page on screen, and I'll do the rest off screen, and I'll come back and show you what I've got. So I want my brown thread on this side, so I'm turning it up because my top thread is brown, or like a beige really. First page done, and here's how it looks. You can see the brown on this side, and then the pink. And of course, depending on how well behaved your machine is, mine obviously isn't. So it's bringing through the brown from the other side. So we have pink and brown, but I think it looks quite nice. So that's that one done. And now we'll just do the pocket page. And for the pocket pages, I'm just gonna do straight stitches on the side. I'm gonna sew straight down. Meaning I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm just gonna add stitching down the bottom and up the top. And before I do the rest off screen, I want to show you how it looks. You can see how much it adds, the stitching adds to the pages compared to no stitching. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish all the sewing off screen. I'll come back and I'll show you what I've got. And by the way, if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't want to sew, you can still add that element by punching some holes or poking some holes in your paper and then just doing a little bit of hand stitching. You can just do a straight line. I think it adds a different element too, or you can wrap around the edges too. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it adds a lot of character, and you have some stitches in there, and I think it looks pretty cool. So there's always options. I'm back and all of the sewing has been done. I'm not gonna go and do a flip through because you will see it as I keep embellishing the journals, or the little inserts rather. I just want to point out that adding the stitches, believe it or not, also adds bulk to this little booklet. So as I'm working in it, I keep checking that it fits in my phone case. So I don't know if you can see, but it's already kind of gaping a little bit. That's fine. I can still keep on adding. So the next thing that I want to add are some stickers, nice and flat, not gonna add bulk. And I'm going to go page by page. Actually, I have a pocket page here first. So I'm going to add something into the pocket pages as well. Now I'm adding really thin pieces here. I'm not doing any cardstock or layered things, none of that. I'm trying to keep it completely or as flat as I possibly can. I have a sticker here that I'm going to add on this page. I kind of pulled out some stuff so that we can speedily go through this and you don't have to watch me searching for things. So I'm ready. Now I'm not going to be adding something onto every page. I'll just do a little bit here and there. I'm choosing embellishments that are quite subtle because the phone cover is pink. I don't want to go with very contrasting images or colors. When I'm applying glue like that, I just like to tap it on a piece of paper over here to remove the excess glue. Because when I'm embellishing, I want to kind of be able to turn the pages quickly and not worry about this getting stuck to this, which can happen if there's a bit of excess glue seeping out. I have a little pocket here. I'm going to pop this actually a sticker. It's like a vellum sticker. I'm going to add another sticker. I might put it here in the middle. This is also a sticker. Added a little bit of glue onto the sticker because it didn't seem very sticky. Okay, pretty. This looks beautiful as it is, but I'm really loving these corners. I've already used these. I'm not sure where it came from, but you can most definitely make your own little corners. So this is a bit of a tedious job, but also satisfying once done. I like to ink the edges, apply some glue, glue it down, and repeat 3 times. And done, mi amor, look at this. Does this not look fabulous? Gorgeous. All right, moving along. I'm just going to add a little sticker here. Oh, aren't these stickers just gorgeous? I think these transparent stickers are just the best. Nearly done with the first signature, and it really doesn't need much. It's only little details that make all the difference. There's that one. Gonna do a sticker on this one, or maybe this one. Oh, where? I'll go here. Quite nice. This is kind of like a see-through sticker. Keeping it nice and simple. Nice and simple wins the race. Or is it slow and steady? Either way, we are going to win this race today. And my final little piece for this first signature is this little piece that I've just put in, and that's it, done. So it's quite embellished, yet not very chunky, so that's what we're after. All right, now it's time to do this one here. Less talking today would probably be a good idea. This is a different day of filming than the previous steps. So much has happened since the last segment of this video, where I stopped last, which was at the stitching. And I'm not going to go into personal details because everyone's got their own crap-a-doodle stuff that they're dealing with. So I'm not going to bore you with mine. But I just want to tell you, if you're going through a difficult stage, I don't know what, you're not alone, I suppose. Okay, another sticker. Oh, I could have gone a little bit more up. You see how gorgeous these transparent stickers look? They look like they're printed right on the page. Moving along, I sure did prepare a whole lot of transparent stickers for this journal. And this segment was supposed to be filmed yesterday before all the crap-a-doodles happened. So I'm kind of having to remind myself what I was planning to do with each piece, because I wanted to have everything ready for filming so that I'm not kind of wasting time looking for things and whatnot. Anyway, back to the fun business of creating something stunning, something uplifting. That's the way I see this practice. Well, I think on this little spread over here, I decided to do nothing. I mean, we have sewing, we have stenciling, we have a printed image there, so not every page needs to be embellished, which I believe I have already said, so I'm kind of repeating myself. I'm just inserting little stickers into the pockets, and I don't think I planned anything here. And for this one, of course, I'm going again with the transparent sticker. If you don't have transparent stickers, but you have stamps, then stamps is a good way to go. I did say that I don't like to use stamps because they can kind of be visible on the other side if the paper is thin. But you can always have a more muted stamped image. So rather than plopping it down, can't really talk. So I'll just say it this way. When you have all your ink on your stamp on some book page first or scrap piece of paper, and then stamp on your project. And that way you will have a more dimmed, muted. Just stood up and started walking away from my desk and forgot halfway where I'm going. I want to show you this. I just did a bit of stamping on the page, and see how some of the images, I'll tell you what this is for, but see how some of the images are very faint and then some are not? Well, that's what I mean. And this is also quite thick paper, and you can see how some of the images are peeking through. Imagine if it was thin paper. This is quite thick, thicker than the standard copy paper, so you don't have to have the fancy stickers, transparent stickers and none of that stuff. Okay, now you know what the deal is here in the middle of the signature. I'm gonna go again with the corners. Hola, hola, mi amor. Look how beautiful this looks. All right, I'm doing a bit of Spanish because I'm influenced. I have been influenced by a show on Netflix that I'm currently watching. I'll give you a little hint. Como la flor. Okay. Anyway, here's another hint. Bidi bidi bam bam. How about this one? Baila, baila esta cumbia, ritmo, ritmo. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop singing. But I have to say, it makes me feel good. I don't know if you know, but if you don't know, Selena was a Mexican artist. I'm watching the new series on Netflix about her life and stuff. But I also watched the movie in 90-something when, what's her name? J-Lo acted Selena's character. And I fell in love with Selena and all the music. And I know all the words, kinda. So it just makes me feel good. Singing in my kitchen while cooking makes me feel happy. Mi amor. I'm nearly done. What was I planning to do with this one? Oh, I'm planning to do this with this one. Look at how gorgeous. Now, did I want something here? I'll just do a little something here. Beautiful. And that's it. I'm done with the actual journal part of the phone case creation. So I can now pop these in where they belong, and then I can see how much space I have, or if I can't close the phone case, then it's fine. I can just remove a couple of pages. I would prefer not to have to do that, but mi amor, you just never know. Oh yes, oh look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Okay, well, it's quite chunky. and it does this, that's because it hasn't been beaten into submission, and it will be. So just saying, but I believe I can still close it. So I can still close it. Okay, now the issue is, I mean, I was gonna say when I squish it down, there's space. There really isn't that much space, but I still want to do things to this. I still want to add pockets over here and fill the pockets. And I still also have this section. All of these little bits and pieces need to be filled up. I wanted to have something in here as well. I'm going to do all of that next. But I think I'm going to leave that for later. I might even do it off camera and just show you what I've put in there. Because, I mean, you know, like you just put stuff in there. It's not really rocket science. Darling, is it? Mi amor. Okay, I'll stop with that now. What I want to do is the outside of the phone case. I want to somehow embellish this and make it look pretty, because I wish I could say I did this myself. This was the phone case. It was like this. You can see that it's embossed and it just looks beautiful. So I'm going to take inspiration from this to do something on this. Obviously I can't emboss it. I don't have any of this kind of a tool. Here's what I'm thinking. I pulled out some things from my stash. I have these beautiful embellishment stickers. I got them secondhand. So I'm thinking maybe something like this. Next thing I have here are body tattoos that I also found in a secondhand shop. And you're supposed to like apply them to your body and whatnot. But I've actually used these in projects before, so this is just an example I'm showing here. This is my little thing, and I applied one of the body tattoos onto this faux leather cover. So I'm thinking, you know what I'm thinking, perhaps I can use these little dots and do a little strip down the bottom, maybe 2. I'll follow the instructions. I think I have to soak it with water. You know how you apply body tattoos, you put it on and then you put some wet cloth on top and then wait a bit and then peel it off. So I'm gonna attempt to do that, and then I might go in and add some gems, these little gems. So I'll see how I go, but first, the first thing I think I'm going to do is the tattoo, and if it doesn't work, then I don't know. Here we go. I might try it on the back first and see what happens, and then if it works, then I'll add it to the front. All right, reading the instructions over here. Peel off the clear film on top. Place the sticky side down into the position you want to apply the tattoo. Might open the case. Soak the paper with water and make sure it's fully wet. All right, let's do it then. Oh, I'm nervous about this. I'm gonna put something absorbent underneath just in case. I have a wet little towel here soaked with water. Plop that down. Make sure it's fully wet. Yes, press and hold for about 20 seconds. Pressing and holding. And then finally, slowly remove the paper. Okay, moment of truth. So nervous over here. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, it worked beautifully. Bit of water did soak through. Oh no! Okay, we shall deal with that in a second. All right, now I know that it works. I'm going to do it on the front, but first I need to see the damage on the inside. This is wet, so I must let that dry. That's all right. I'm not going to touch it until it's dry. But now that I've learned my lesson, I think just to be on the safe side, I'm going to remove the signatures. Okay, we're good to go. I'm just contemplating the placement of this. I could just have it along the edge or go with the original plan, which is this. And repeating the same process. Bitty bitty bum bum. Oh, pretty. Make sure it's glued down. When it's dry, it's not sticky like this one. And this has been on there for a long time, years. So now I'm just wondering if I should do 2 layers. All right, before I decide on that, I'm gonna glue this one and off we go. All right, that's glued on. It's moving around because the glue's not dry yet. Now, I'm contemplating doing another layer of this one on top and then adding little gems kind of going up. That's probably what I'm going to do. One little gem thing then glued down, which is unacceptable. Okay. All right, here's how that's looking. I think it's looking really nice, but it's quite straight. And since this here is my inspiration, you can see how the image goes kind of up this way. So I'm thinking now, like I said before, I'm gonna go in with some gems, apply them over here, and then perhaps make this a little less straight, and I don't know what I'll do. I'll do it off camera. I'm gonna use little gems. I'm gonna use my glue, the art glitter glue, and it's gonna take time, so I'm not gonna film it, but all I'm gonna be doing is glue, gem, and so on. Biddy biddy bum bum. Easy peasy. All right, I'll be right back. I'll just show you the process. You can see I've done a couple in here as well. You can also see the glue around the gems. I don't know if you can see it, but when you press the gem down, the glue seeps out. I'm leaving it for the time being. It's going to dry clear anyway, but I do like to go in and just clean up the edges. Now this here is one of those pens for diamond painting. You can get them really cheap, and I love it for this kind of work. So I can pick up the gem and then plop it down. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, the glue seeped out, and I just I'm gonna leave it. Or I could clean up around it a little bit, but I'm deciding to leave it. Okay, mi amiga, that didn't take very long. No, por favor, don't think it took very long. Well, it didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. And it was quite meditative, I should say, little process of gluing the gems down. I think it looks quite fancy. I like it. Por favor, if you like it too, please let me know, mi amor. Okay, I did say I'll stop that. What will take long is now waiting for this to dry. I need to make sure that this is dry before I continue. And also this, oh, that's nearly dry. Excellento. All right, well, this isn't dry just yet, but I can carefully work on this and create the little pockets. So I have a little strip here, a leftover piece, and I'm gonna cut it down. I need to get rid of this first. Excellento. And now just check how long my pockets need to be. Maybe I'll do about this much. Yeah, that will do. Hopefully I'll have enough here for 6. So going back to that whole Spanish speaking thing, I hope I'm not gonna get in trouble for it. I hope it's not like language appropriation or something like that. Speaking a language that's not mine. I'm not speaking it. I'm just pretending to speak it. And I find when I'm watching something, if I'm watching, say, a French movie, I tend to speak to myself in French, pretend French in my head. So for example, now I'm watching Selena, and I find myself speaking to myself in Spanish when I'm like doing housework and stuff. Like, for example, mi amor, esta la noche de música, una máquina, buenas noches, como la flor el chico la corazón. Like, I know that doesn't mean anything. I speak to myself, pretending that I'm having or my dog, you know, in Spanish. It's like my mind gets obsessed with this language that I wish I could speak, but I don't. And I remember when I was a little kid, like you probably know, I came to Australia when I was 13, so I didn't speak English. But prior to coming to Australia, everyone used to watch Santa Barbara. I don't know if you remember Cruz and Eden and Cece. It was a soap opera. And obviously it was in English. And I remember as a little kid speaking English to my cat, but I wasn't actually speaking English words. I was just making it all up, pretending I'm speaking English to my little cat all day long. And now at 40 plus years of age, I'm still doing it. Well, now I can speak English, but now I just happen to be speaking pretend Spanish because of Selena. Does anyone else do that, or is it just me? And I just realized that I only have 5 pockets. What does one do? Well, one must pivot. We shall dig through my little scraps folder over here and find something else that goes. Okay, I went with a different type of a paper, so let's see how that's gonna look. It'll be fine. That looks all right. Now I'm going to glue these pieces down. They are going to be pockets for little things. Just need to glue the 3 sides down. Okay, there's 1, 5 to go. All right, that's all glued down. And now what I'm going to do, you can see here how I kind of attempted to make it look like a chest of drawers with little pretend handles. We're doing a whole lot of handle appropriation here. And that's what I'm going to do on this one, just for fun. Okay, all my little pieces are ready to go. See what I did there? Now I'm just going to glue all of them down. I believe you gotta keep the mind and the body young. Well, the mind mostly. And one way to do that is through playfulness. That's what I believe. And one way to be playful is, I mean, there's many ways of being like this as being playful. And speaking Spanish to your dog is being playful. And playing with kids and just being silly in general. Okay, I'm doing little stickers here for the little drawers, little drawer handles. And I know when life does its thing, it's kind of hard to stay playful and to become very solemn and serious. You know, it's difficult with all the things we have to go through as human beings, but I try and keep that little kid alive within, pero I think it's important. Okay. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, now I'm gonna grab whatever is little and can fit. I happen to have these little, I don't even know what they are, little like postcard things, and I cannot remember where they came from. I'm gonna ink the edges and pop them into the pockets. See, I think life is gonna do its thing with us anyway, going back to the playfulness thing. And it's hard to be playful when things are happening and when you're dealing with chronic pain and or grieving the loss of someone or just horrible things that are a part of life and that all of us go through. I find that it's easier to stay playful during the day, but it's very difficult in the wee hours of the night or the morning. You know, when the lights are out and the world is quiet and everyone's asleep. It's a very difficult time, I find. Look how pretty this is. And then doing this kind of a thing just makes everything better, I find. And I'm sure you do too. That's why you're here, because you love this. You love what this brings into our life. Okay, enough philosophical chitty chat. No more chitty chat. Oh. That didn't sound too good. Chitty chat. I don't know what you heard. I only have a few little things left to do, and I'm going to do this off camera, come back and show you what I've done. But I just thought maybe this needs a little work. I have these 4 little... Actually, I'm thinking now that maybe I can go back to this on the inside. What do you think? I'm gonna add this sticker type thing and see if it's gonna even stay stuck. Okay, that'll do for now. I can always pull it off if I don't like it. This is all now pretty much dry. You can see how that glue dried quite clear. Okay, and over here I shall do more of this stuff. Not great, but what I'll do for this one is something like this. I don't know, let's see how that's gonna look. What's the worst that can happen, right? Body tattoos all the way. Okay, that looks better when it's not so straight. You know, I'm happy with this. It's just a little embellished flap is what that is. Hello, I'm back. It's the next day. Everything is nice and dry. I'll see if I can get closer. Here we go. You can see those little gems are glued down and you can't see any glue residue. Perfect. And now let's have a look inside. I have filled everything up inside this. Oh, look at this. Doesn't it just look huge? Looks like a chunky big thing, and it's only a little phone case. Well, it is a rather large phone case, I suppose. Okay, so what I've done on the inside, obviously you've seen those little drawers. This here is just a sticker, and so is this. These stickers are absolutely exquisite, and I found this as well at a resource rescue center. It's just amazing, the things that you can find. So all that is stickers. And then in the pockets, I've just got tags. Like you can see when I take this tag out, this is what the sticker looks like. I mean, a photograph would look good in there as well, but it all depends on the kind of phone case you have. And then the rest of the pockets are just tags like this. They're just different types of tags, and then I just put a little gem on each one. And then of course on this side also the same thing. There's space for 3 tags. Do all things with love. All right, so that's filled up. I mean, it's tags galore, but whatever, it can be cards. Now in here I made like a little wallet type thing for a credit card or savings or whatever, for cards. And all I did is a piece of scrapbook paper, obviously that fits inside that pocket, and then I stenciled the inside, folded it in half obviously, and just glued 2 pieces of paper. I was contemplating, should I have this piece over here? Should I have them both in the middle? It really doesn't matter as long as you just glue 3 sides down and then you create a pocket. Excellent. So now that that's done, I just can't stop looking at this goodness. Look at how much stuff. And we're not even done yet because we still have a tassel to go. All of this in a phone case. Who would have thought? Look at that. But the moment of truth is, will everything fit? So now I'm going to put the signatures in. All right, signature number 1, 1 and done. No, it's not done. And signature number 2 is in. Very glorious looking, isn't it? I'm just so, you know, when I started this project, I wasn't really sure how I'm going to make it look pretty like this. But I'm feeling quite, I don't want to say proud, but yeah, I'm feeling a little bit proud of how this turned out. But this is the moment of truth. Will it close? Oh, just. All right, so it's definitely a chunky monkey, but it closes. Only you can see the magnet over here, so it's struggling. That's the magnet. Ideally, I want this to cover that magnet, but it kind of doesn't. Regardless, now let's do the tassel. And let me just say, this is the tassel that we're going to make. And I think that it's important to say that number 1, the tassel can be moved out of the way. Number 2, look at this, look at this. Remove, remove, remove. We're going to be making this exactly the same thing. And all the things will be removable. If you want, you can get rid of the tassel. You can even remove this. I think that's important because if you're making this for yourself and you're going to have it in your handbag, or if you're going to gift it, it might annoy you to have all this stuff hanging around. You might want to have it on there sometimes, other times you might want to take it off. So I think that it's important that it's removable. It's raining outside, if you can hear the rain, and it's very, very gloomy day, but we shall persevere, shall we not? Okay, tassel time. I come prepared, my friends. So I'm just going to show you all the things that I have prepared for the tassel. I have lace and some more lace. This is some type of stretchy lace. Then I have this like cord kind of thing. Then I have this yarn kind of thing. Then this twisty gold gorgeousness. Then I have a piece from, this was actually from glasses, you know, that thing that you put around your neck and hold your glasses in place. Well, that's that, but it could be from a necklace or whatever. Then I have a piece of gold thread. And then just because there's never enough gold, I have this wiry gold type thing. It's not a wire, it's just, I don't know. And then of course I have another one. I have this silver thread, I suppose you call it, a bit of a yarn. So I have that ready. I like to have a few of these silver ones, which is why I kept the whole thing. Last piece, I have this gold chain. I wish it was gold. Also like from costume jewelry. And then I have beads. Now the beads and bits and pieces. The beads that I have to be, or the beads that you're going to use, have to have a large opening. I have a lot of beads and a very small selection of beads with a large opening. This is all the beads that I have. Okay, well, these aren't even beads. I don't know what this is, but I keep it in here. So this is where I put my beads with large openings. And then when I need something to go on something chunky, I don't have to search through all the beads. So I think that's always a good idea to have your large opening, large hole, I suppose, beads all in one place. Last time I spoke about beads with large openings, people kept asking me, where do you get your beads with the large openings from? To be honest, I have no idea. I just, wherever I can find secondhand beads. So it could be taken off the jewelry, necklaces and bracelets and stuff. But anyway, enough about that. I have some little tassels ready. Obviously, you use what you have. Look at this. Oh, just so cool. This is the most important thing. Now, this is what I'm using, but obviously you can use really anything, any type of something that you can fit through this. You can use one of those jump ring things, the key ring things here, and just attach a whole bunch of tassel bits on it. But this is what I'm using because I have it and it's nice and neat looking. And then I have beads, jump rings, and I'm not sure what these are called. I think they're called toggles. They're like hoodie, you know, on a hoodie, and then you have the strings on a hoodie, and then you have this down the bottom. That's what I have, and that's what I'm gonna use. Okay, you can tell that I've just woken up because I'm taking way too long to get started. First things first, and we're gonna really simplify this. We have a clean slate, so that nobody's feeling overwhelmed, including me, even though I can see all the stuff off screen. First of all, I'm going to attach this. Here's what that's looking like if you didn't see it before. And I'm going to pop this through the hole up the top and through again. And that way my thing is sitting down here. If I pop it through this way, this sits up like this. So I don't like that. Anyway, I also don't like how this is long. You can see all of this. It's just there and it's too long. So on this one here, I changed the thread and I made it shorter, but I'm just not gonna bother on this one. Okay, now grabbing all of the little laces and bits and pieces that I have ready, I'm just going to pop them all together. And you can see I left them very, very long. I like to have extra so that when I'm tying knots, I have plenty to work with and I don't have to struggle. All right, here's the gold one. Doesn't want to listen to me. That's fine, feel like that. So now I have to bring all of this through this. Just using a jump ring there, that's a jump ring. And this is a piece of wire. I'm gonna take all of this. Oh, what am I doing? I don't know quite what, oh, here we go. And I put all of my threads through the wire. And now I'm gonna put the wire, I don't know how well you can see. I hope you can see. The wire through, oh, is this even gonna work? Come on. Oh, it's gonna work. That's not looking too bad. I didn't do this very well. Take the wire off. Not very smart today, but I'm pretty sure you know what's going on here. I just needed to bring all of my threads through the jump ring. And I completely forgot to add these silver threads, so I'm going to do that now. We'll speed it all up. I'm going to do the wire thing again. So I think the important thing is that you have the short bit and a long bit rather than wire in the middle, because then it confuses everything. So here we go. If I had a bigger jump ring, I would probably use a bigger jump ring, but I don't have a bigger jump ring, so I'm kind of stuck with this little one. Okay, now I'm going to find the middle. Perfect. And I shall prepare myself a piece, a longish piece of some kind of a thicker white thread like this. So it's not really thin thread like you would find for sewing machines. Okay, now I like to bring everything together like this, but I also like to do some arranging. I don't have to do too much here, but sometimes what you can find, for example, I might have all these gold bits all on one side of the tassel, when in fact I want some gold bits kind of all around, not just all here. So this is where I do the arranging as well. And then I might like some lace better than others. So for example, I don't really like this lace. So why would I have it as there, right there, front and center? It minor little details these are, but that's what I'm doing right now. So now that's done. I'm going to take my thread somewhere in the middle and pop it underneath the jump ring. I'm holding everything nice and tight. And now you can see my thread here. I'm going to start wrapping like a little scarf. And wrap that baby real tight. See that? Nice and tight in there. Okay, and now this might be a little bit tough because I really need another person to hold this here for me. But what we have to do is tie a knot. And it has to be a tight knot. Wouldn't it be nice if we had like an extra hand, but it's stowed away somewhere, like in the belly or like in the hip? And then when you need, only when you need it, you get to like summon it. And then you have a third hand come and do the thing and go back. I think that would be a pretty cool little attribute to have, appendage. Okay, so I've tied a knot on this side. Now I'm going to turn it around to the other side and we're going to tie another knot here. Actually, it's double knot. So number one, left over right, right over left, that kind of thing, square knot. So I've got a square knot and now I'm just gonna knot away some more because I like to be sure. Okay, we can either leave these strings, which often I do, but for some reason I didn't like it in this tassel, so I'm just gonna chop. I'm going to work on the beads now and then we will come back to this and the chain and all of this business. So we will do that once this is complete. So I'm going to start off with this. First I need to kind of have a look, where do I want my things to end? In all honesty, I could have left these strings longer because I like to be able to tie knots like I said before. So I'm going to start off with this one here, and I know that I don't need to shorten it. Perhaps I don't need to talk so much either. So I'm just going to go ahead and start adding beads. So for this type of a thing, you need either a piece of wire or a beading needle, which looks like this. Sometimes if I was to use this beading needle for example, this bead, this has to be doubled up. You'll see what I mean if you don't understand at the moment. And it can't physically fit through this bead. So I have to try and do it this way. Sometimes a bit of glue on the finger and on the string helps the process along. All right, this first one isn't looking the best, but it's only part of a whole, so it's going to look great when it's done. Okay, I'm tying a knot at the end, and now we're gonna bring this down. This can't go anywhere, but I also want to tie a knot up here so that it's not moving up and down. So here we go. I have a little knot happening. The knot is happening, okay. And now I need to bring it all the way down onto the very top of that first bead. I'm not going to be doing this much talking throughout the tassel making process, I promise. Just here at the beginning so you know what I'm doing. Now, you can see that isn't going to be moving up or down, and that's what I want. I want it to be secure in place like this. I don't want any beads kind of flopping about. All right, now I'm going to go onto the lace. I don't know what I was thinking. I really should have left that longer, because remember, when you're tying knots, it takes up space. It makes it shorter. So with trying to get beads onto lace, you can do it. Try and do it like this. All right, see how much easier it is when you do a point and get it through the bead. Or of course use your beading needle, but again, you'll be doubling this up. It's going to be very difficult to get the bead through. I might do this pretty sparkly bead next and then finish with this one. And again, I am now checking, where do I want that? I might want my beads to be up here, not all the way down here. So that's what I'm going to tie the first knot up here. Push the beads up to the knot and tie a second knot just under the beads. And this is why you want to leave yourself enough space, enough length, because it just makes life easier when you don't have to struggle. And always bring it all the way up with a little tool, a little helper, all the way up to that bead, almost as if it's another bead. Well, isn't that just so fabulous looking? Gorge. Now, I'm not going to add beads onto every single piece of lace or every single string, so I'm just moving the ones that are done out of the side, out of the way. And this is pretty much how I do my tassels. Now from here, I can just do my beading. I don't need to do any talking. Actually, I was going to demonstrate like using the beading needle, but I don't think I need to do that. Actually, you know what I'll do? I will do these silver ones because you may have noticed in this gorgeous tassel. I don't know how well you can see. I can't see very well, so I don't know. I have a new phone with a new camera and it's just driving me a little bit crazy, to be honest. Can you see this gorgeousness? Look at this. Isn't that just exquisite? And I have it kind of all throughout. Some of them have a small number of beads and others have a lot more. So I am adding these tiny little beads onto these strings. I'm not going to do too many because it's going to take me forever, but I just wanted to demonstrate the usage of the beading needle, just in case if you've been living under a rock like I have been for many years. I had no idea these things existed, and now off I go putting little beads onto my string over here. Okay, that's enough for demonstration purposes. Bring it all the way down, and here we go. Okay, I am going to go and finish off screen. And I just go one by one, deciding what I'm gonna put where and so on until I'm done. And also I'm constantly checking where my strings are compared to my phone, if that makes sense, because I don't want everything to be this short. Or maybe I do. We shall see. All right, I'll finish off the beading because you know pretty much what's going on, and I'll see you when it's finished. Okay, here's what I have. All the beading is done, very rich and messy. And I've attached it to a phone case here. And I really don't like how the tassel starts all the way down here, nearly halfway of the phone case. So what I'm gonna do, because I need to give this a haircut, but I can't do that. I'm not sure if I already said that. What I'm going to do is shorten this. I ended up making my own little thing, and this took way longer than it should have, but anyhow, we just need to find a way to attach the tassel to the phone. So I've got my little loop. I'm gonna go in through here. I know I'm very close, just bear with me. This has to go through this. Oh yes, now that's a lot better. There we go. Now I have a silver jump ring and gold jump ring. I'm pointing that out because I wasn't sure which claw clasp I should go for. So I'm going for the gold. I'm gonna find the seam or the opening, put this on. I probably should have done that earlier. So I have attached the clasp, and now you can see this. You can see how it's quite long, right, and all of that. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a haircut. I'm going to leave some bits longer, some bits shorter. Okay, excellent, that's done. Now, next thing I want to add is the chain. So I want to have different levels. I'm adding the tassels. So I want to have one here, and then perhaps one there, and then one about there. Attach the first and the second tassel. Now this needs to go on a clasp. All right, clasp is ready. All right, attaching the jump ring onto the clasp and then onto our piece here and close. And here we go. Here's the second piece that can get attached to our jump ring over here. And here we go. And of course we can just remove them as we want. And one last one that I wanted to add is this little pearly one. I might double it up instead of having just the one line. All right, a jump ring and the clasp and close and attach. And the final little piece is this little tassel, jump ring, tassel, and attach. Lovely. And done. That surely was a labor of love. Let's have a quick little peek inside. Peek, I mean, you've seen the whole thing, but just in case if you haven't and you kind of fast forwarded to the end, this is what we've got. A little card holder in there and lots of little tags and stuff, and then the pages that can be removed and the whole signatures can be removed. Really gorgeous stuff. And then a little drawer, chest of drawers here at the back. Pretty cool. And here they both are in all their glory. I am so happy with how both of these turned out. I think they look exquisite. So be sure next time you're out thrifting, have a look at these phone cases with the magnetic closure and go ahead and transform your own into something really beautiful. I think this is such a beautiful thing to make and also a beautiful gift to give. And with that, I shall leave you for today. Please let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.